All right. It works. There we go. I've learned in all this time that I've got to place this thing just right, because if I put it too low, the mask rubs on it. It'll irritate everybody's ears if it does that, so I'll get that moved. Hey, good morning. It's the 24th of January. Unbelievable. January's just about done, which means February's right around the corner. Groundhog's Day, that's a big celebration. And we have to do that, so that's an important one too. That means it's not that far away to the first day of March. And so things are going well, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's going to be a great day today. We've got a lot going on, and so we'll get moving through things. Our order of worship today is going to be just about the same thing as we did last week. I love to change things up quite a bit, but we did change it up just a little. And the one thing is with the music, if you missed last week, we did the bouncing ball music with singing. And we're going to do it again. I found another song with the bouncing ball. And this one you'll know too. It's a hymn that, it's not a real age-old hymn, but it is the hymn Morning Has Broken. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And of course, the words will be up front. And all you got to do is follow the ball, and you'll be just fine. So it's a great thing with that. We have our message, our reading today, our prayers, and then we're going to get things wrapped up as quickly as possible, because today is also the annual meeting. And we want to get people up front and get them going on this thing so that we can get through all that too and move on. So it's a great, great day. So welcome to worship this morning. For the greeting that I have set up for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the future, and a little bit about maybe what we should be looking for or looking to. And what really works well is some of the words from one of the verses of this song, which is familiar to this church, may not be familiar with everybody here, but it's the Come Down to the Lakeshore song. It's a beautiful song. Now, if you're a musician, if you play this one, it's in 6-8 times, so it'll drive you crazy, but it is a fun, fun song. And the lyrics that I love to use, that you see in front of you now, you have come down to the lakeshore, seeking neither the wise nor the wealthy, but only asking for me to follow. The theme of this whole song is Jesus coming and calling his disciples. So the words from this hymn, as we do a greeting to get us going this morning, paints a really pretty picture of people just like us, going about their daily tasks, doing what they have, and suddenly they find themselves face to face with this Jesus, this brand new Jesus at that time. But still in today, you find yourself face to face with Jesus. Long ago, he called his first disciples, but he's still calling each one of us today to a task that God has in mind. Now, our lake shores may be a little bit different. We're not with boats. We don't have water splashing up right outside our property. But these are the places, even if it's not quite like that, our lake shore are the places that we work, the places that we live. And we know that Jesus, even today, right now, is coming to each of us just as we are and inviting us to follow him. That's quite an ask. We gather today in worship because we want to feel the presence of God, to ask for God's healing love. This is part of the work of the church, part of the work of this church, to be a place to assemble and to ask for God's mercy and God's blessings, not only on each of us and our families and all those who are important to us, but also on the family of faith that gathers here that you have come to love. It's also a place to renew the offering of our own gifts and our own lives, and to trust in God's love to call us. And so today, we gather here in worship. Together, we're going to do a very short call to worship. Your parts are bold and underlined. Jesus has called us to leave our comfortable ways and venture forward with him. Okay, maybe I didn't underline it this time, but you got it. Jesus knows your fears and offers you healing.
Lord Jesus, open our hearts and teach us your ways.
Another thing we've offered, and we're not into Lent yet, we're not at that time, although it's not very far away. Ash Wednesday is the 17th of February. But we've added a little bit of time of, remember we used to do a time of centering, where we could gather ourselves individually, and now we've also got a time of reflection, a time to look inward, a time to look at ourselves and find the person that we like, and I think many times first find a person that we really don't care for. And it's a great time for us to find time to atone not only with ourselves, but to find ourselves in communion with God. And so get yourself comfortable. If you want to close your eyes, you can. We're going to pray. We listen to the stories of the call of the disciples and find them interesting but unrealistic. When we look at our own lives, we believe that we could not leave everything to follow someone we didn't know. We have so many responsibilities and ties which keep us from following. But God, you are persistent. You understand our confusion and doubts, and you continue to call us to be in ministry and mission in this world. It may not mean leaving everything behind, but it does mean willing to serve wherever you call us. That's hard. We want to place conditions on service. Usually these conditions are if we have time, if we have the energy, if we could just try serving for a little bit and see how it goes. Still, you call to each of us and we learn. Discipleship can be difficult. Forgive us, patient and persistent Lord, for the very many times we turn our backs on serving you and focus on our own comforts. Forgive us when we look the other way when people are in need. Forgive us for our angry attitudes and actions which hurt rather than heal. So we ask, wrap your arms around us, healing our wounds, binding us to you, gently move us into service in your name. We do not need to be afraid. You are with us. That is good news. We do not have to go through life alone, wondering if anyone cares about us or knows our heart. God, you know, and you love us. We rejoice, for that's the way it is, has always been, and will continue to be. Your love for us is forever. Amen. So here it is, time to do a little singing. And again, we have a bouncing ball, so we can't go wrong. You can either take yourself way back in time if you're that old, and some of us are that old, I being one of them, to remember an old program on TV called Mitch Miller Show, where he had a whole bunch of guys that were singing, and they had the words across the bottom and the bouncing ball. Y'all remember that? Yeah, I'm seeing more people than I thought nodding yes. Or if by chance you found yourself at a place of entertainment that served beverages of alcoholic nature, and you found yourself in front of a microphone and karaoke machine, same type of thing. And the way you belted out that night, we're going to do the same thing today. So here we go. Follow the ball. I don't know, I think that is so cool. I think that's fun. Maybe we'll do it again someday, too. So, today, because it's a newness, we're still in the new year, we have a new administration in government, and today is our annual meeting, which means today, at the end of the annual meeting, is really the first day of the new church year for the Larchwood UCC. Even for church, the first day is actually the first day of Advent, but today is the first day for us. So today we're going to read about the things ahead. But what we want to read about is being patient. To know, as Paul's going to tell us in our reading today from Romans, that good things are ahead, but you have to kind of wait for it and trust God that things are going to be there and be okay. And so from Romans 8, I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory about to be revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the children of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, yet of its own what will, but by the will of one who subjected it in hope. In hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay, and will obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now, and not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly while we wait for adoption, the redemption of our bodies. For in hope we are saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope what we do not see, for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we ought. But that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words. And God searches the heart, knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. We know that all things work together for good, for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. So today, let's talk a little bit about the future. Man, it's fun to talk about the future because we don't know what's going to happen. We can guess, but we just don't know. I mean, when you think about the future, I went back a little bit. In fact, I backed up 3 years, not for any reason at all, but I just got thinking back at the end of January in 2018, what was going on here? We had an annual meeting. And we had a soup cook-off afterwards, and there were people everywhere, and we had a blast. And we got to eat so much stuff, it was unbelievable. And then we had desserts on top of it all. We had activities going on all the time. We had a pastor full-time, so things were good there. But now we're here. Now it's a little bit different. And now here's the next thing to think about. Where do you think we're going to be that Sunday when we hold the annual meeting in January of 2022? Where do you think we're going to be? It's hard to know. It's hard to understand because it's difficult to know the future. It'd be great if we could know what the future held, but it's difficult to do. Because, well, first of all, I'll bet we could find within ourselves, because everything is unknown right now too, right? I bet we could find in ourselves some peace if we did know what the future would hold. I bet we'd be good with that would help us out. But wait a minute. What if our future isn't that great? Do we want to know about that? Or what if the future is so good that we can stop trying right now? Do we really want to know about that either? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But today we have our annual meeting. Today we're going to talk about the future. Today we're going to talk about the hope of this congregation. Today we're going to talk about a passage of time. From our day's reading, it talks about that passage of time from now to something better that's coming on. But again, it's those things we don't know. It's the ones that drive us a little bit crazy. We think we know, we have an idea, but there's still something that's a little misunderstood too. I heard a great story this week that I want to share with you. And it's about a naval ship that was operating well off the coast of Maine. And one night, you got to envision one of those nights where you're out on the water, and it's a little foggy, and it's a brand new moon, so it's a little dark out. And the midshipman who's up in front calls to the captain and said, "There is a light directly ahead of us, and it's coming right for us. What should I do?" And the captain said, "Get on the signal lamp and tell that light, whoever you are, you need to change course." And so that happened. And the signal lamp on the other one came back and said, "No, you need to change course. We're not going to." And the midshipman thought, that's odd, so he said it out again and said, "No, you don't understand. You need to change your course. We're coming right at you." And the other one came back and said, "No, you don't understand. You have to change your course. It's you that has to change." So he turned to the captain and he said, "What do I do?" And the captain said, "Be very stern and give this message." And he linked it out and said, "This is a United States naval battleship. And we order you to change your course because we're coming right at you." And the light came back and said, "I really believe you need to change your course because we are in a lighthouse and you're headed right for us." It's that little unknown. It's that little thing of had they known, they wouldn't have had that thing at all. But they weren't even sure exactly where they are. And you know, that's a lot like us because we kind of want to go forward, don't we? We kind of want to plow through, and we want all the circumstances around us to change as we're going. I mean, I'm one of those guys, and I'm just a push forward. I got a lot of things going on. And then somebody wants to change it because they don't think it's a good idea. And I'm a really peaceful guy, but inside me is going, "You have got to be kidding me. Get out of my way. We have things to do." We want the circumstances around us to change rather than having us saying, "Well, maybe we need to reevaluate the direction that we're going. Maybe we need to rethink about this whole thing." Solomon, wise Solomon, said something in the book of Ecclesiastes. And he said, "Since no man knows the future, who can tell him what is to come?" And it's really true that we don't know. We don't know what's going on, yet we have to look forward, we have to plan forward, we have to think forward. And so here we are in church, we're ready to make plans for the new year. And somewhere inside each one of you right now, I'm thinking, you've got to be thinking, God has to have a way for us to do this. And you know what I found? I found as you read through the Bible and study a lot of things, that I found some do's and don'ts for what to do to look forward, to plan ahead, to think about the future. Let's start with the don'ts first. God says, don't assume that everything's going to be just fine if I don't do anything. If I don't have to worry about it. I know things aren't good ahead of me, but if I don't have to think about it, and I don't want to worry about it, let's just hope that everything's going to be okay when we get there. Maybe it will be, but maybe we need to change course. Another thing that God tells us is don't panic about tomorrow. Jesus told us in Matthew, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has its own problems. Worry about today. Think about what you have in front of us. And the nice thing is God gives us life in these little bites. Every 24 hours, the sun comes up on a brand new day. And we get to kind of re-go again. And so God gives us things that way so we don't have to panic about tomorrow. But the third thing God tells us is don't procrastinate until tomorrow. And I'm really bad at that. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have things in front of me that I know I really should do, but it's not a big deal if I push it off. And it's not a big deal if I push it off a little bit more. I'm amazed at the number of people that, first of all, watch us online, or even people that go to this church that think that I get up here every Sunday and just start spouting stuff off and it just falls out of my head. And part of it does. Okay, I'll give you that. But, there's got to be some planning and stuff. You can't procrastinate all the way through. I can't wait to Sunday morning to decide what we're going to talk about today. And you can't wait until tomorrow morning to know what you're going to do when you get to work, especially if you have other people that count on you to do it. So procrastination is a bad thing. So God says within your life, do what you got to do. Don't panic, but don't procrastinate either. Let's just say, okay, that's good. Now, what does God tell us to do? I got it. God says, go ahead and make plans. But count on me to walk with you. Count on me to be with you for every step. Make your plans. Keep tied in. Don't get too far away and stay connected, that I will direct you. God also tells us to keep moving forward, keep learning, because we learn something new every day. Don't get sidetracked. Don't let things pull you away to the side and you lose focus on what you were trying to do in the first place. And that's really easy to do, not only as a Christian, but it's really easy to do as an entire congregation sometimes, to get a little sidetracked, because we know what our mission is, we know what the ministry is that we want to put out there, but it's really easy to just get a little sidetracked. We'll wait until something happens. Maybe we'll wait until we get a full-time pastor, or we get a real pastor, or we get whatever we're going to decide we're going to do. That's how we're going to do it. And the last thing, and this one is a big one, God tells us to step out boldly and do it in faith. Now, faith is an interesting thing to try and define. Last week, in confirmation class, I got to tell you, I get the greatest materials that hour at 10:30 to 11:30 on Sunday mornings when I listen to these young kids and what they have to say and what they have to share. Just triggers all kinds of stuff. And so they don't know it, but when they're all gone, I'm writing things down and keeping track of what it is. Last week we talked a little bit about what is belief and what is faith. And they were a lot more specific, and they got into it a lot more. But let's do it this way to make it simple, and because time is going to get away from us this morning. I believe that an airplane can fly. That's my belief. Airplanes can fly. But if I get on one and strap myself in and let somebody else drive this thing because I'm flying somewhere, that's faith. Now my faith is this really is going to work. I can believe if I sit down on that stool, I believe that stool would hold me up. But until I sit on it, That's the faith I've got that's going to hold up, that's going to do that thing. Belief is something that's inside us, but faith is the action that we're going to get doing. One more story. You all know the story of when the Israelites left Egypt and the Egyptian army was right behind them and they got to the Red Sea. Remember that story? Moses put his staff up in the air and the Red Sea parted and the Israelites went through. And after they were all the way through, then Moses brought his staff back down and the waters came back together and the Egyptian army just happened to be in the waters of the Red Sea at the time. And so it didn't end well for them. But that's how it went. But in that story of the Israelites wandering for the 40 years, as they're getting very, very close to the promised land, there is another story of them crossing water. And it is the River Jordan. And we don't hear this story a lot. It's in the book of Joshua. And in that one, it is the springtime. The waters are high, and they're rushing pretty quickly, and these people need to cross over. And Joshua knows he needs to trust God. And God has given him some direction, and God has given him hope, and God has given him trust. And so the Israelites are carrying what has been known and will be known forever as the Ark of the Covenant. It's this thing that they carried and believed that God was with them the whole time. And there were 6 people carrying the Ark of the Covenant. And what they were told to do, and what Joshua told them to do, was get into the water with the Ark. And so in they went with these 6 people, and they walked into the water, and then they stood, and the water's still rushing. And so they take another step or two, and the water's still coming. And then it gets up to their knees, and then up to their waist, and now it's coming up to their chest as they're stepping forward, and suddenly the water stops way upstream, as if there is a magical dam up there. And now the bed of the river is dry, and the Israelites pass through the whole thing, and after they pass through the whole thing, Ark moves forward, and as it leaves, the waters come back in again. Why tell that story? Because the Israelites believed, because God had saved them 40 years prior with the Red Sea, they believed that once that Ark of the Covenant, which they were instructed to do, stepped into the water, it would stop. And it didn't. And then they had to take another big step, not knowing, and another big step. What's that got to do with faith? A lot of times with our faith is that hope of things that we don't see. Because if we could see and understand it, we wouldn't need hope at all. But faith is that hope of what we cannot see. And the hardest thing to do is to take that first step. To take that first step of faith and see that what has to happen. So faith is not just a word. Faith is an action. It's something that we all have to do. And so in your lives, and even with your church, starting today, you're going to take a great big step. You're going to take a step in your life, a step for your faith, and that's going to carry you on to a new tomorrow. And you can do it because God has said, I'm going to be right there with you. You can't go wrong. Amen. All right, let us enter into a time of prayer. I want to bring up, we had several families, several folks that were on our rotating thing on the announcements that we are going through. Do remember, obviously, the family of Trish Lombard just last week. We brought her into, and the family into our prayers. And then during the week, of course, she has passed away. So do remember that family. Also, I've got to note that Wayne Warner, and family. I know Warner or Wayne's going through some difficult time right now too, and this is not a good time for Wayne to have any kind of struggles because he's still got his transplant and doing well. And the other one is Marlos's niece, Melanie Johnson, was just diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And so let's remember Melanie Johnson in our prayers as well. All right, let's find ourselves in a time of prayer. God of sun and the moon, the stars in the sky, your wonder is beyond our imagining. We thank you for the gift of this world we share and for the common bonds that we share in this congregation. Bless us, God, as we seek to find a way toward the peace you invite us to share. Guide us, God, to walk that delicate line between being faithful to our own relationship with you and yet remain understanding of those whose path may be different from our own. Open our hearts and minds to all people, even those here today. May the mystery of your ways be the bridge that draws all of us together in prayer for peace in our time and to carry out your will for us. We pray for those who are in special need of your grace and healing today, for those who live in fear, those who are grieving or hungry or in despair, for the lonely, for all who are ill or suffering, and for any who may be struggling with internal issues, or for all who live with chronic illness. God, we trust in your power to be present. We trust in your Spirit's power to bring comfort, faith, and strength where it is needed. We pray, bring your radical peace into our midst and touch us all with your love. For we ask it in the name of the one who calls us ever forward, Jesus Christ our Lord, who taught us all to pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. Amen.
All right, a couple quick things. Remember to clean your pew in the area where you're at, but we're going to stay right here. Where is Madam Moderator is way in back, and incoming Madam Moderator is right here. We're going to stay right here, right, and do the meeting? Yes, okay, that's what I thought. Set that up. So the annual church meeting is today. Again, remember, prayer requests can be put in the tray in back if you want to do that on your way out. If you're on the way in, I really appreciate it if you get them right to me so that I can know about them today, so we can know what it is we can do. All right. Volunteer cleaning list is in back. Take a peek at that. Next week, we're back to normal. 9 a.m. worship, 10 a.m. worship, 10 a.m. Sunday school, and then 10:30 is confirmation, and the mentors will be at confirmation. I'll get you something today on that. The raffle is today. Today. It is the opportunity to find out who is the lucky winner. And then, as a sending today, let us remember this, thinking about the call of Christ and the steps of faith. As the disciples walked with Christ so long ago, walk with Christ in your hearts and your spirits. Feel the power of the Holy Spirit guiding our path. Know the love of God which is poured out for you and rejoice. So go now in peace, and may God's peace go with you this entire week. Amen. Oops. Oh.
Yeah, I thought I didn't have it. Oh, no, we do it. Yeah, thank you, John. Rich. Would you like?
Sure.
We got a PowerPoint at all? No. It's okay. Yeah, I like to
It's
know.
your tax.
Yep.
You want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
Say, Rich, you want to come up here and draw? No.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. This year, as you guys all know, was pretty challenging for everybody. We had to do a lot of things different than normal. This year's harvest auction was canceled due to the COVID, of course, so we decided to go and try something new with a raffle. We had 3 different prizes. Like I said, we were shooting from the hip. Never done this before. We end up getting $500 cash, gift certificates to the stores in Larchwood, the store, and $100 to each gas station, and a quarter of beef. And all this was donated and greatly appreciated. And the turnout this year was just unbelievable. I think we got over, according to Don, over $5,300 towards it, which is just amazing. I'd like to thank my committee for helping me and the Diaconate Board. Without them, I couldn't do it. And myself, the volunteers for the money and going out on their own and getting these people to sign up. I think Don had over 2,000 himself that he sold too. So just an outstanding performance by everybody, and I thank everybody that purchased tickets and donated a quarter of beef, especially from you two. Was just absolutely can't thank you enough. So anyhow, what we're going to do is start with a $500 cash prize, and we're going to have the non-biased person do the prize. All right, so the $500 cash prize goes to, I can't, Harlan Blick.
I'm bleeding.
Or Bleak. Okay, yes, that is an E, sorry. Awesome. Keep that with that one. And the gift certificates to the grocery store and the 2 gas station goes to Larco. Larco Homes.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And the quarter of beef. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Who's the beef?
Andrea Eastland. There we go. Awesome. Again, I'd like to thank everybody. Just an outstanding job. For the first time ever doing this, and we were shooting from the hip the whole time. My hat's off to my committee. Thumbs up all the way. Thanks, Doug.
Okay, I've been nominated to do the annual meeting here, so kind of just go over everything. If you have questions, shout it out, let me know. So 2020 was kind of a challenging year. You know, we started without a pastor, and then in July, Rich agreed to be our part-time pastor, which gave us some much needed leadership. And it also provided us with an opportunity to determine if a part-time pastor would work for our church's need. We're continuing to look for a pastor, but we have changed to look for a 3/4 time pastor. And while 2020 was challenging, it also reminded us just how important our church family is. We did miss worshiping together in person for 3 months. We were finally able to get together in May. And even though it was in our parking lot, it was wonderful to see our church family again. We all look forward to finding our new normal in 2021. So I will just kind of review some of our stuff. I'm thinking y'all got handouts and stuff. But the old business from 2020 was to meet our reserve, to get back to the 3-month reserve for expenses, which we've accomplished that. I think we're well over that. And we did have a goal to increase church and Sunday school attendance, which COVID kind of shot that in the foot. So I think that'll be new business next year, and kind of just continue to do that. So new business, we have nominating committee and openings. Do you know what's open, Deb? Do we have any volunteers?
There's 2 for the stewardship committee, fellowship, and a spot for the council.
Okay, so 1 spot for council, and 2 for stewardship, and 2 for fellowship,
And 1 spot for nominating committee.
and 1 spot for nominating committee. So who do we talk to on that?
You can talk to me
Okay.
or April.
Okay, talk to April or Bob if you want to do that. So, and let's see, Jill's going to work on our new website. And then basically just kind of our new business and our goals. So I've got most of it is the parsonage update, right, Deb? I mean, that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's a little further down. Should we approve our committee report?
Yeah.
Oh, and the bid for the furnace is in. It was $3,500 plus tax. I think it was like $3,575. That's installed everything. So taking out the old one. So we'll have some left over after that, which is good.
Well, I think the 2 major things are the parsonage update and then what we've decided to do with the pastor. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to do a 3/4 time pastor, so basically an average of 32 hours per week. Responsibilities of the pastor is going to be worship planning and preparation section. That would be basically the required responsibilities. We'd want them to do weddings, funerals, and other pastoral concerns that would be required, and the newsletter article. You know, the other duties will be decided with the pastor's input, taking into consideration their skills, passions, time, and work week. And again, since we have a part-time pastor, we will depend on some help from our members. And I guess the big thing is the pay for them. We need to, basically UCC has like guidelines on what we're supposed to pay them, and we've kind of been going by that. But the handout showed the suggested salary for 2021. It looks like we're going to use like a step C. I don't know if everybody's got the stuff, but so for average weekly worship, we use 51 to 100, which results in a salary of about $48,000. And for a 3/4 time pastor, it's about $36,000. And then health and dental insurance, they're kind of estimates on what you have there. Anybody have any questions on that? I don't know, search committee?
We've never been down that road, so it's hard to say.
All brand new, so we don't know. Anything else? And then our financial report, I don't know if we want to go through that. So I forgot to grab one of those. Let's see. I don't have the. Does Sarah have the financial report? Did you hand that out? So I don't know if there's any time you can look at that. We're a little down on our actually offering and pledges, which I think a lot of that was due to COVID, but so we did change the budget a little bit to like 78,000 is what we're hoping for offering and pledges. And I think we changed the budget on what we're gonna spend on pastoral care too, since we're gonna go down to a 3/4 time pastor. So, I guess we're hoping we can get that in pledges and income, which I think we talked about that in a few of our meetings, so.
The budget for pastoral care also takes into consideration that we probably won't have a report minister for the first part of the year. We kind of balance what we're giving Rich with part of the report or 3/4 time pastor. So that's why it's less than that $36,000 for the 3/4 time.
Okay. But let me know if there's any questions on that.
Hey, Rob?
Yeah.
That survey that we had folks fill out with kind of the indication of pledges, do you think that would go, because I have all the information, but that would appear that we'd be close to that?
That's what our goal was, yeah. From what we got the survey, we kind of figured that in there, yes.
Hey,
So that's kind of what we're basing the budget on.
this is what we got on our account right now. Total current assets is almost 120,000. Or is that very that bottom of the page down?
Yeah, I think that's right. Right, April? Page 10 is, that's what we have in our accounts right now. It's right around 117,000 or 138 with the CDs and everything, so.
Hey, Rob, can I throw something to you?
Yep.
The pilots we got online, there's a question, would you be kind enough to repeat it so they can hear it?
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Okay.
I'm not done with what we got. Say it.
I don't have much else on the financial report. I guess we make a motion to approve it, approve the budget.
I'll move to approve the budget.
Bob will motion,
I'll second.
Jason will second. And let's see here. And I think the last major thing is the parsonage up there, right? Oh, yeah, in the committee report. Everyone went through that. Okay, Jill motion that.
I'll second.
Ashley will second it. Yeah, I think the last thing is just what we're, that's kind of where we're at right now. So if somebody moves in and in a 3/4 time, they have free housing right now. I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I think everybody got what we're doing on the parsonage, which.
You going with carpet in the basement or linoleum or?
Yep, carpet in the basement, so. And the flooring's upstairs, that's done now, isn't it? Yep, and are the cabinets in? So we've got the flooring cabinets in, so I think it's just the basement left, isn't it? Yep. And we've got the budget and everything for that. What we paid on it this year, so far it's been about $30,000. We will be about $30,000. We paid about $17,000 this year. Appliances were $1,000. Plywood was $172. We paid Larco $6,300 and DRG $760. The flooring was like $4,800 and the cabinets was $4,200. And last year, money that we got from it, just that we tried to raise for it, were $8,500 from offerings and $6,000 for the harvest auction. So we probably were a little bit over on that. And then left to be paid is about $12,000. $4,000 for the finishing of like the cabinets, flooring. Is that right, Deb?
We just paid half.
Oh yeah, we just paid half of it. So we have about $12,000 left. I know we did the harvest auction. Got how much?
According to Don, we're at 5,300 and counting.
Yeah, I think most of that was going to go towards this, right? Or not?
That was the furnace.
Oh, that was for the furnace.
Furnace.
So we have about $12,000 left to pay on it.
So the furnace is 3,500, and if we give 10% to heating assistance, or that'd be $550. We'll still have some left over to go possibly to that.
Okay, perfect. Does anybody got any questions on the parsonage or not? What we're doing?
Maybe thank you to everybody that works. Maybe a thank you to everybody that works.
Oh, yeah, thank everybody that's done their time on it and worked on it. I know a lot of people put some hours in there, so. But other than that, I don't have much else.
I just have one request.
Yes,
Can I just-
Jill has a request.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, council members. One little request, and this is kind of coming from a pastoral place or whatever, is that if you are signed up to be an usher with some other folks, if you guys could work together to make sure that between like 9:30 and 10, we get all of the the markers and stuff changed for the service, and then also again at 10:30, that would be great, because that is like the golden half hour. If you're the pastor, and which I've done a few times, you know, so I guess sorry about that, but if you have done that, it's really you and for Rich. I've seen people coming up and having questions and ideas, and it's really hard to do all those things, especially you know if we have ushers that don't show up or are only here for one time. So, and then also again at 10:30, he's running back to do confirmation. So if there aren't people sticking around, then it either has to be done after that or before the next service. So that's just my personal plea, is that, so I guess we have to make a motion, don't we, to end the meeting? Okay, so I'll just go ahead and do that for you unless you want to come back up. Okay. So we need a motion.
Should I be the one that reminds or gets a hold of the people that won the prizes?
I
And
think
if I can't get a hold of them, does that fall on me receiving this gift?
You get, then if they don't claim it, you get it?
Exactly. It's, you know,
Exactly. I think,
24 hours.
Troy, I think you're really good. I think that this is really within your skill set. So I'm going to
I'll
take
get a
liberty
hold.
to say that yes, Troy will get a hold of you to transfer the nice prizes
Alright.
if you were one of the fabulous winners. And so with that, I am going to see if anyone will make a motion to end our meeting. April's giving the first. Can I get a second from anyone? And Rob is seconding. And so the meeting is adjourned.
Get up there and talk. Thanks for putting everything together.
What's going on?
What's that? Sure. What are you taking?
I didn't sell a single one of them.
There you go.
Rob, congratulations. Where's the beef? There's the beef, buddy. Where do we? Bob, when is that gonna be ready? April? March? April, May, I thought the appointment was for April. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Gives you a chance to, gives you a chance to try to make freezer.
Okay.